Hey, everybody, it's Friday, August the 14th, and it's time for another episode of AMA Air. It's the 100th episode!
What? Oh, my God!
Coming up today, we have so many guests. We're going to be talking about the history of the show. It's going to be a blast.
I can't wait. We're going to have some great stories from iflyama and some special guests that are going to tell you about all kinds of great stuff that's coming up.
All that and more coming up today on AMA Air's 100th episode.
Yay!
Welcome, everyone, to the 100th episode of AMA Air. My name is Matt Ruddick.
And I'm Claire Aldenheisen.
Oh, Claire, we've made it. Can you believe it? We've made it to 100 episodes.
I can't believe it. I mean, there are some TV shows that don't make it this far.
That's true. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we are now eligible for syndication.
Yes.
I think.
About time.
Well, we've got some amazing guests that we're going to be bringing on the show here to start us off to celebrate the 100th episode. Coming up later, we're going to have Jay Smith from Model Aviation Magazine tell us a little bit about the magazine and what's coming up on Model Aviation Live next week. We also have Tyler Dobbs, our government affairs director, that's going to come on and give us some government affairs updates. But first, we're going to do a little celebration.
Let's do the fun stuff first.
I want to get the fun stuff in first. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm in a party mood. I mean, hello.
That hat is amazing.
I've got little flare things on my party hat. Let's start with our first guest. She really needs no introduction. She is one of the first hosts of AMA Air. She was on episode 1. I believe she was on for like the first 54, 55 episodes, something
about
along those lines.
Half of the show.
The half of the run of the show, she was a host on AMA Air. Please welcome Miss Erin Dobbs. Hello, Erin. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Erin.
Hi. Congratulations on 100 episodes. I'm actually kind of missing. I need a red Solo cup with maybe a little something in it.
Hey. Now we're talking. That's the kind of party I'm into.
I mean, it is Friday, right?
It is Friday.
That it is. I'm just so happy for you guys. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. I think it's safe to say without you,
we couldn't have gotten
be
here. Absolutely.
So thank you.
Might tear up a little.
We also have another guest on tap here. Somebody else I think we can credit with. We could say if not for him, I don't know that we'd be here. I know without him, I wouldn't be here. I can assure you because he hired me. Please welcome AMA Executive Director Chad Budreau.
Congratulations, guys.
Hey, Chad, thank you so much for coming on the show. Chad, I like to credit Chad as one of the brainchilds of AMA Air. He's the guy that said, hey, Matt, we want to do a new show. Let's do something. I said, okay, whatever you say. And now we are here. We have one more guest that we're going to bring on, though, and he is our current producer. We talk about him every now and again. You guys don't actually get to see him. Sometimes you hear him, but you don't really ever see him. Dylan Carpenter, current producer of AMA Air. He's going to be here on the show. Hello, Dylan. Oh, he gone.
Oh, where did he? Oh!
Hey!
I just sit in the chair and push buttons, guys. That's all I do. Congratulations on 100 episodes. This is exciting.
This is super exciting.
This is so fun.
That box is absolutely fabulous.
Well, I thank you. It's not every day you inherit a show that somebody else did most of the work on and you bring it to 100 episodes. So.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how I feel now, knowing that Erin was on the show for more than half of the episodes. I thought she had been the host so much longer than that. I can't believe I've been on the show half as long as her. That's crazy to me.
Well, before you know it, Claire, you started in 1999 and you've been here 21 years. So there you go. Time goes fast.
I mean, did you start working here when you were 4?
I was 6.
Okay. Well, I couldn't ask for a better group of people to come on and celebrate this 100th episode. This has been just an absolute blast of a ride for this show. I want to start with Chad for just a second because, back in 2015, I came in and I interviewed for a job at the AMA, and Chad was the guy that was running that interview. And lucky for me, I ended up getting that job. And one of the first things Chad said to me, he said, "Well, we've been talking about doing some sort of news show, to try to get information out to our members. What do you think?" I said, "Okay, we could do that." And that conversation, that very short conversation, turned into what we have today, which is AMA Air. And Chad, I'd love to get kind of the story from you. I think I know some of it, but I'm sure the folks at home don't. How did the idea for AMA Air come about?
Well, and it really goes beyond me as well. I think of people like Rob Couric and the executive council. They all adopted the idea of, hey, let's expand how we communicate with our members. And this show really helped catapult us into new streams, such as much more active social media and the podcast and other channels like Model Aviation Live. So this really was kind of the grandfather of new ways of communicating with our members. And because of their vision, they brought me on, and of course you, Matt, to help shepherd AMA into a new era.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been so much fun. The whole inception of the show, from sitting down and trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the show going to be called? What's the format of the show? Who are going to be the hosts of the show? Like, there were so many decisions that had to be made and conversations that had to be had that were serious conversations. One of the things that I knew for sure, and you and I talked about this quite a bit, was about the hosts and who was going to be right to be on screen, because I was very adamant that we couldn't just put two random people on screen and it was going to work. There had to be some sort of chemistry there. They had to be able to be good on camera and be able to talk to our members in a way that they would accept. And one of those first hosts that we auditioned, I was sure I wanted her on the show. I don't think she was sure she wanted to do it. I think we had to talk her into auditioning a little bit. We brought her in audition, Erin Dobbs. I'd love to hear from you. What was going through your mind when we were like, "Hey, Erin, come audition for AMA Air"?
Well, I saw it as an opportunity, but I will tell you, when you asked me to do it, I was very, very nervous. And I can remember being in that very small studio and, feeling really hot and probably sweaty. And, it's just Chad and Matt and Chris in the room. And I'm like, I know these people. Why is this so nerve-wracking? And I was just reading from a teleprompter, but it was. I mean, a lot of respect to journalists and having to think on your feet. Thank God. I mean, I know this is a live show now, but thank God back then when I did it, it was pre-recorded.
And that's true. So for the first, man, I don't even know, had to have been the first probably 30, 40 episodes. I think we're all recorded like in one shot at a time. So we'll shoot all of Erin's close-up stuff. Then we'll shoot all of Chris's close-up stuff. Then we'll shoot all the two shots. And then I take it all back and I go edit the whole thing and put graphics in, put the video packages in. And it was a process. We'll just say that.
That's a nice way of putting it.
It was a process. And I did that for a long time, because at one point there, Chad, you ended up moving over to government. So you kind of left that picture. And then I was just it was just down to me for a while. What's interesting to me though is how comfortable you got so quickly. I mean, it didn't take that long for you, I feel like, to get comfortable on camera and comfortable with the teleprompter. I mean, you had a few desk
Erin was a natural
moments.
I miss her.
You had a few desk smacking moments here and there, but
Yes.
overall you got very comfortable and became, I in my opinion, I thought you did a fantastic job on the show.
That's so kind. I appreciate that so much. But you guys do a very, very fabulous job as well. And I was very humbled to be on the show. I can tell you just one quick story. I'm walking down the aisle at AMA Expo, and a member goes, "Hey, I know you," and I'm going, "You do?" "Yeah, you're on that show." So I was like, "Oh yeah, I do that show."
I almost forgot.
So it was very, very humbling and adorable all at the same time.
Hey, Chad, I want to talk to you briefly real quick about, the studio. So that was also a huge topic that we had to talk about.
Right.
And you were talking earlier about kind of the limitations of shooting, and one of the reasons why we had to do it the way you were describing was because the studio was so small.
That's right. So we actually had, we were able to do like a 3-camera setup if we wanted to. We had the equipment to, but we chose the smallest conference room in the building, and we were given the okay to say, okay, you can make this into a studio. Cool. And it was great for like one person, but you get 2 people in there and things become a little tight. And as far as, the camera angles and whatnot. So what you're looking at here this was the conference room that was in the back of the building that was really just used for like private phone calls and things of that nature. I think that's really all it was used for.
AKA the war room.
It was called the war room. You're right. I forgot about that. And I don't know how, Chad, you talked everybody into letting us turn that into a studio.
Yeah.
I mean, that was okay. So yeah, here's kind of the first bit of construction that we did. So you and I actually went to the hardware store and did a lot of this on our own.
I kind of describe it as we had to build a sand castle without sand. They said, all right, do a show. And good luck. And we didn't have a studio. We didn't have equipment. We had really nothing. So you're right. I think we bought some conduit or PVC pipe and some sheets. I remember bringing a little small air compressor from home and my own nail gun, and we were putting up the backboard. It was a fun. Honestly, I had fun doing that.
I had a blast. Honestly, it was a lot of fun to do. It took me back to my college days when we had to build our own sets for our film projects and whatnot. So it was kind of interesting. But you see, if everybody sees that black section back there, that was plywood, laminated plywood that had a black backing on the back. And we're like, yeah, we'll stick this up. And then the thing I love the most about that studio, the thing I remember the most is how we had our backdrop printed across the street at the museum. And we held it up there using office binder clips that you can see there at the top of your screen. That's literally how that backdrop was affixed to that to those pieces of plywood.
Movie magic.
Nobody ever knew. You could never see it.
And you can see the cameras there. I mean, these aren't like high-end equipment. We've made the best with what we had available.
We really did. And it did work. It really did work. We got a lot of really cool stuff done there. This is actually a screen grab from, I'm convinced, I think this was the first thing we shot inside that studio. I don't even think it was really done, but we had the backdrop up. And so that's Chad there on the left, a very, very young looking Chad Budreau there. And
I remember that interview with Dr. Gary Fogel.
Yeah, Dr. Gary Fogel on the right there. He was in town, and we got him to come in and sit down and have a chat. And we said, hey, we've got this backdrop up. Let's stick him in this new studio. And it was awesome. It turned out really great.
Agreed. I had a lot of fun with that. And if you look closely, I think it's somewhere near Omaha, because again, Matt, you and I were putting this together. Unfortunately, during office hours, I'm sure some staff did not appreciate hearing air compressors and nail guns, but we were putting up that paper. It's just printed paper. It's nothing fancy. Between the sweat and you and I trying to set it up there, I believe Omaha has a little bit of a smudge.
It probably does.
You can see a smudge. I think it's our fingerprints from just trying to press it up.
What did Omaha ever do to deserve that?
We were just desperate because there are 4 sections there to that. So we had to line it all up and make sure that everything fit. And we probably just pressed there a little too hard on push there on Omaha, just like right there. Yeah, God, that was so much fun. That was the original studio. That was the original incarnation of the show, or of the studio. Now, we didn't end there.
Sitting right here in these chairs on one of my first days at the AMA, actually.
I remember that.
Because I started over at the museum with Claire, of course, and came various gyms such as Ask Claire and Flyby, but I remember coming over just to see what was going on with AMA Air, and I was sitting right here just wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, just going, oh man, this is the real thing, as I'm sitting in the studio.
Well, little did you know how much work you would be putting in, because while this was kind of the first incarnation, we did have one more incarnation inside of this same space where we decided we wanted to freshen the backdrop up a little bit. And the thing I wanted to have some sort of physical piece to the set. And I wanted to be able to light it from behind and to kind of have this glow effect. And while I never quite got to the vision that I had for it, we came close, and that's what this set became.
Oh, I liked that set.
I did too.
You are never allowed to touch that set.
Absolutely not. You can't touch it because that's plexiglass, and it was being held by like steel cable that was maybe a half an inch, if that.
We'd give you a close-up, but we don't want OSHA to come knocking on our door.
Probably true. So that was kind of set, or Studio V2, as I think we kind of like to call it. But and that's what it looked like on screen, on camera. And maybe that glow did work out. Maybe on camera that did kind of work out. But we didn't stop there. So Dylan, this is where you get to kind of take over, because at this point I kind of moved into a new role within the organization, and you kind of took over where I had left off. Talk about a little bit, the next kind of incarnation of the set.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to go back to this here because it kind of helps to illustrate my point. So this here, note this window, okay? And then note this wall right here. If you can see my cursor kind of outlining this wall. So when we flip over to this here, that wall that I just highlighted was here. So we are standing on the other side of that wall that I just taken this photo. And this was completely demolished to make room. There's actually kind of a storage closet on the other side of that wall that we opened the studio up on. And this is kind of our current space right now. So here's that backdrop. You can kind of see it. And then that window over there to kind of get your bearings. And then, that kind of took us into this incarnation of the studio, which again, I'll point out right here is where that window was.
Yeah. So we're shooting into a different direction of the room now that it's a bigger room and a little bit, slightly different configuration.
Yep.
And the desk is still standing.
The desk still stands.
We don't use it
we don't
anymore.
Use it anymore. Well, at this point, we were still, and I don't know, some of our eagle-eyed, which I guess we should have a lot of eagle-eyed members, considering what we do. Some of our eagle-eyed members might have been able to point out that a few of these episodes were actually shot on this green screen and were made to look like this version of the set. So we actually had a digital version of that background created that we were shooting on for a while we were gearing up to kind of go into this new incarnation of AMA Air that you guys are now familiar with. Of course, if you're a longtime viewer, we sent out kind of where you answer questions.
A survey.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not the on-camera guy, so I struggle to find my words. Matt and Claire, and of course Erin are very much better at that. But we sent out our survey and kind of asked you guys what you wanted to hear. So while we were gearing up for that transformation, we were actually shooting on the green screen with the desk, which led us to what you guys are definitely most currently familiar with, is our new incarnation. So this is Matt and Tyler, who we're actually going to have on later as a guest, shooting an episode of one of our video podcasts, one of the podcasts that we actually put video to.
Yep.
So this is our physical set that we ended up creating to make the new backdrop for AMA Air. And then of course, some nice new technology that is currently sitting collecting dust while we use kind of a much simpler technology for this live stream process, which is kind of another incarnation of why we got this. So up until our first live show, it had all been pre-produced, scripted almost. Well, the new incarnation actually went to no script. But the thought was always to kind of go live. And, of course, current situation has kind of forced us into this live format.
Yeah, I'd say we certainly weren't quite prepared to go live when we did, but because of the pandemic, we kind of had to. That was kind of what we're going to have to do, and it's worked out. It's worked out pretty well, I think, because of that.
I think so.
Yeah. Of course, none of this, would be possible if you follow the news. You know that we did name the studio space the J.S. Gerber Studio.
That's absolutely true, and I'm glad you brought that up. So we had a lot of conversations with Jay Gerber, who, if you're not familiar, he's a longtime AMA member. Chad, correct me is he in the Hall of Fame member?
Yes. Great member. He's produced a lot of great content for decades for AMA through NFL films.
Yeah, exactly. If you've ever seen any of those, I think it's modelaircraft.org/AMA films. He produced all of those videos there, and he used to be a producer with NFL Films back in the 60s. Just an incredibly accomplished guy. And he came in and gave us a lot of really good tips on what we could do here in the studio to make that space work for what we needed to do. And I certainly think without him, I don't think we would have that space set up the way that it is right now.
No, absolutely not. And I have to apologize for Chad because that lower graphic went right over his face.
That's all right.
It's a very Mike Wazowski situation.
Good producer move.
Any Monsters Inc. fans out there?
I made it on the cover.
Well, it's been just a blast to talk about to reminisce really about what this show has kind of become and how we got to this point. It's been an incredible journey. It really has. And, we're 100 episodes in. Who knows how many more hundreds of episodes we're going to get to. It's going to be really fun to see and be part of that. Hopefully I'm part of it for a long, long time to come. Chad and Erin, I want to have you guys stick around for just a couple of minutes because I want you guys to join us for our iflyama segment here in just a second, if you don't mind.
I've got to jump off because I don't know if you saw me kind of scramble when Matt said that link, but I didn't have it ready queued up, so I had to get down here and I had to figure it out.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But that's one of the things I do. So this is a more producer intensive when we get into this segment. So I'm going to go ahead and pull myself off so I can do the background stuff. But congratulations, guys. I will
Thank you,
I'll see
Dylan.
you at the end of the episode. So
thank you, Dylan. I appreciate you. And before we get to our iflyama segment, I did want to mention that, and I don't like to talk about. You know what, Claire?
You know what, Matt? I think you should go ahead and since you have one with you, you might as well toot your own horn because you don't have it on perfect. We have another milestone coming up here for the AMA podcast. Of course, Matt never likes to talk about the podcast, but I love to talk about it. The 50th episode is coming up, and he won't tell me what it's about. So just like you guys, I'm going to have to stay tuned and listen in, but I'm excited. Like, I can't even believe it's already at 50 episodes. It's awesome.
It's flying by. When you do them once a week, that number starts creeping up really, really fast. So it's been a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of fun talking to all the people I get to talk to do that show. And I do have a plan in place for the 50th episode. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because you need to subscribe so you don't miss it.
I don't already subscribe.
I know you subscribe. modelaircraft.org/podcast. Go check it out. We just released, I believe it's episode 47 was this week. We talked to Devin Turno from the Chicago or the Suburban Aero Club of Chicago as part of their Club of the Month celebration. So it was an amazing conversation. Lots of really great information and ideas for clubs out there. So go check out that episode if you haven't done that already. But yeah, episode 50 is coming up. So be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on another celebration we'll have in a few weeks.
And of course, you will be wearing your party hat.
I will. I'll be wearing my party hat. You won't be able to see it, but I'll wear it.
I'll be able to hear it if you're not wearing it.
You can hear maybe the.
I hear the joy in your voice right now.
I pointed to the wrong side because my camera is reversed on my screen. Whatever. So let's move on, shall we? Let's move on to our favorite segment of the show. It's iflyama. And where we get to talk about some of the cool stuff we found on the iflyama Facebook group. If you haven't subscribed to that yet, if you haven't joined it, why haven't you? What are you waiting for? We're going to tell you what you're missing right now. And Erin and Chad have been gracious enough to stick around, and they've actually found a couple of stories that they're going to share as well.
So excited.
I tell you what, I'm going to get mine out of the way because mine's simple. It's easy. But it's just so much amazing eye candy that you're not going to want to miss this. So this post comes from John Zoldak. He actually shared this video that was originally posted by TJ Williams. For folks that may be familiar with that name, he used to be part of Flight Test, doing a lot of their follow flight footage, and he posted some gorgeous flight footage here of this biplane that was being flown by John Zoldak, and we're bringing that up for you right now. It's just an amazing clip that he posted here.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I thought I might be able to be better equipped for this producer stuff, but
technical
that
difficulties.
tux is all for show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not the professional I look to be. All right,
there we go.
There it is. Oh my goodness.
We talk about it all the time, how much we love follow footage like this, and when you have somebody that's this good at it, it gets this just amazingly gorgeous piece of footage here. It's just so much fun to watch.
I love that, and just what a beautiful day that they
beautiful
captured
day,
as well.
Beautiful airplane, beautiful footage. It all goes together. It's like peas and carrots or something. Isn't that how that goes?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Forrest Gump fans? No. Okay. Erin knows what I'm talking about. So there you go. There's my story.
Goodness.
Let's Claire, what do you got for us this week?
I have just the most heartwarming story. Kevin Garland, he was first introduced to model aviation by his grandfather when he was a kid, and he wants to keep that family legacy alive, so he decided to introduce his toddler son, Skylar, to it. And he shared with us on the iFlyAMA group a series of really adorable photos and a great little video of him. And so there they are together out at the flying field. I don't actually know what club this is, but look at the beautiful mountain vista in the background.
Gorgeous.
Like, what a wonderful place to learn to fly and like get that introduction to model aviation. So that's Skylar there with his dad, and look at that little guy. Like, he's having such a good time. He's just elated. I love it. I just think I love seeing that.
Believe it or not, that's the same color hair I had when I was that age. It's a true story.
Were you that adorable?
No, God, no. I absolutely love this video. This is so stinking cute.
Like, just look at him go. He's so happy. He's having the best time.
He could fit in that plane.
He probably could.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Right there. That's the future of the hobby right there. Just
definitely.
I love seeing that stuff. Very cool. Nice find there, Claire.
Thank you.
Erin, let's go to you. This is a first for you. What did you find here on the iflyama Facebook group?
Well, I found a post by Doyle Blevins, and he is, I don't know what club it is, but basically they are putting together gliders at the flying site, it looks like, and having kids launch them. And for me, there's nothing better than when, you're at the flying field. We've done it several times here at the IAC, and all the kids are lined up, and, that 3, 2, 1 launch happens, and all the gliders go. So this is just a great way to introduce model aviation to youth. And with this weekend being National Model Aviation Day, I just thought this was a perfect post for celebration, and just a great video that he posted.
I love that. That's so fantastic. I get that feeling every time we have a field trip over at the museum and the kids get to fly their Sky Streaks or their FPG-9s for the first time, that countdown and that initial launch. You see their faces just light up because they realize, oh my gosh, it really does fly.
It really does.
Amazing.
Exactly.
They're in this state of disbelief up until that point, and then they can't get enough of it. I love it.
The look on their face with that first flight, man. There's nothing like that.
They're really, truly.
Maybe the candy drop might be a little bit more.
Oh, I love candy drops.
I mean, it's hard to argue that, I suppose. Chad, first of all, I know you're a busy guy, so thank you for taking some time out to do this. So what did you find on iflyama?
Sure. So this one comes from Rob Bustler. And when he was 12, his dad bought a model plane. And this was in the 70s. And even planes today still could be a little bit of a challenging with all the technology, but definitely in the 70s and 80s, it was more of a challenge. And remembered a gentleman down the road who flew, and this guy took him under his wing and taught him how to fly, and he was able to enjoy the hobby. And many years later, he thought, I'm going to track down my neighbor and just say thank you and let him know I'm back into the hobby. And it turned out that individual was Luther Hux, who is an AMA Hall of Famer. And not only is he a notable member, he's an accomplished flyer. He's flown at air shows. He's designed aircraft since he was younger, a kid. And I love this story because it goes to show no matter who you are or what your skill set is, it's encouraging to see people still stop and take the time to take someone like this 12-year-old kid under his wing and teach him how to fly. And it's interesting, Luther's come up a few times this month here, even at AMA. We were talking about how he helped bring models to the Smithsonian in DC, and there used to be a model aviation exhibit at Dulles Airport, which is a major international hub in the DC area. So it's encouraging to see other members take newbies under their wing, regardless of their age. And in this case, decades later, Rob remembered him and kept that hobby alive through Rob.
Absolutely. Well, Luther Hux is actually a very iconic figure in the history of aeromodeling. Like Chad was saying, he's a Hall of Famer. We actually highlighted his project snapshot in an episode of Flyby, brought to you by the National Model Aviation Museum. So you can check that out at modelaircraft.org/flyby. There it is! It was a really, really cool project. This was a lot of fun to look into this whole entire project. It was really... I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. I'm going to let you watch it because it's really cool. He was a really cool dude. So definitely.
Yeah, I totally encourage people to go check that video out. That's well worth your time to watch for sure.
After you join iFlyAMA, after you subscribe to the podcast, after you finish this episode, then watch the Flyby.
We do ask our viewers to do a lot of things, don't we?
It's a lot of homework.
A lot of homework. Sorry, guys. Well, listen, Erin and Chad, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on the show and helping us celebrate our 100th episode and joining us for iFlyAMA. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
It's all thanks to you guys.
Well, we'll let you guys head backstage while we take care of some other topics here that we have. First of all, we want to briefly touch on tomorrow.
Yes.
Is a big event from Horizon Hobby called the Horizon Airmeet. The AMA is sponsoring that event. We hope you guys go tune into that. You can go to horizonhobby.com/airmeet-live. Again, that's horizonhobby.com/airmeet-live to check that out. And just a heads up, there is a brand new AMA commercial that's going to debut during that Airmeet. So be sure to check it out. And if you do, and you've never signed up for the AMA before, there might be a discount code there in that commercial. So be sure to check that to be on the lookout for that.
Well, Airmeet coincides with one of our most favorite holidays,
which is
National Model Aviation Day, of course, August 15th. This is I believe the 9th year that we've celebrated on August 15th. And oh boy, it's going to be a lot of fun. So not only is Airmeet happening, you can also check out on our website all of the events that are going on. And so I'm really excited for that. You might even get to visit one if there's one in your area. Absolutely.
You can head over to nationalmodelaviationday.com to look for events in your area. So be sure to do that. Well, let's jump into, we've got another guest we want to bring on the show, someone who we have on quite a bit, and happy to have him on again.
You might recognize him.
You might recognize him from some other things that we do. His name is Tyler Dobbs. He is the Government Affairs Director here at the AMA. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you guys, and congratulations, 100 episodes. That's excellent, and I'm happy that you invited me to join you for it.
Well, thank you, Tyler, but you're kind of underdressed.
Maybe a little bit. My party.
Where's your party hat?
I know. I ordered it from Wish, so I probably won't get it for 4 or 5 months. It'll probably be a T-shirt. So,
well, you know, you can wear it next time you're on the show, belatedly.
Well played, sir. Well played. Well, listen, we brought you on because we know we've got some government updates that you wanted to talk about. So let's start with educational protections. I know there's some stuff going on with the bill that it's included with. Why don't you give folks some updates on that?
sure. So we have been working with Congress to get some additional protections for our educational use of UAS. And those educational protections will also include some JROTC things for the military's JROTC programs. That got held up in a Department of Defense bill, the NDAA bill, but we do anticipate that language to remain in the bills. And we do hope to get that passed through and signed in the next few months. There's been a lot of appetite in Congress to put those protections in place. Some may remember that there were some educational protections back under Section 336, and when the FAA reauthorization happened in 2018, they kind of got left out. So we're going back and trying to get that actually put into legislation this time.
Very cool, very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that stuff get through. That's going to be great. Let's talk about 349. So I know that with the implementation process for that, there have been some updates with regard to that.
Sure. So we've really been focused on the letter of agreement process for our flying sites in controlled airspace. That's what the FAA wanted to tackle first. So we've been going through that, and we do have a majority of our clubs in controlled airspace with a signed letter of agreement. A lot of those are waiting on what's called a safety risk mitigation panel, which is basically a negotiation which allows them to get a higher altitude than what is pre-approved. And we've had some really good success stories with that SRM process. The only downside to it is just the amount of time that we have to wait in between. We're one user of the airspace. The FAA has limited resources to host these panels, and there are a number of organizations that are going through them. So again, excellent success rate at most of the club. I think all the clubs have gotten to an altitude, been able to mitigate the safety risk to an acceptable level to get the altitude they requested. And we hope and think that will continue. Again, just be patient with us. We will get you through that process as soon as we can. We also have we should be looking for advisory circular 9157C to come out relatively soon. We're currently operating under 9157B. What the difference will be is the new advisory circular coming from the FAA will have a portion in there that will outline the process to recognize community-based organizations like AMA, and it will also have the information on how the knowledge and safety test will be administered and given. So AMA has been a part of that knowledge and safety test since the very beginning. We sat on the board that created the questions. We have been able to shape that to an acceptable level that we think will put very, very little burden on our members. The test will not be that burdensome at all, and everyone should be able to get through that relatively quickly. So as soon as we get more information on that, we'll share it with our members, but I would expect some communications, possibly even in the next month or two, coming out of the FAA.
Okay, excellent. Now, the kind of the topic of 2020 with regard to model aviation has been remote ID. I'm curious where do we stand there? Has there been any movement there from your guys' perspective?
Internally from the FAA, there's been movement due to the requirements that the FAA must follow. They can't make public if they make statements, they have to be public, and they're pretty generic. I mean, just to be candid, they took the 53,000 comments when that comment period ended back in March, and they're huddled right now, and they're responding to each of those comments. And we certainly hope that they're making the requested changes to the proposed rule that many of the 53,000 comments suggested that they make. We understand there's a number of issues with that proposal, and that it just simply isn't going to work for our community. So we're still working. We're working with others in the industry where we're urging Congress to reach out to the FAA and push them in the right direction. And we're going to continue to do so until we see a final rules published. And then even after, if certainly something comes out that we're not happy with. We do hear that the final rule, the FAA's made it public many times that they would like that to come out in December of this year. It's not uncommon for the FAA to miss their deadline dates, but they're getting a lot of pressure from Department of Defense and Homeland Security to get this out as quickly as possible. So members should at least expect to see something in December on that.
Very cool. So, in the meantime, I know you guys are constantly trying to put out information for folks and keep people updated. What's the best way for them to follow what's going on currently?
Our AMA Gov blogs, we try to give a weekly update on that, or a bi-weekly update usually. I know that you and I sit down and do quite a few podcasts when we have hot topics, and maybe we're getting close enough to where we should do another one of those. But the best way to just follow is email, modelaircraft.org, and our social media outlets.
Very cool. And you can check out also modelaircraft.org/gov for constant updates there as well. And Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the show and giving folks a little bit of an update about what's been going on. I know it's stuff people are just clamoring to know the latest on. So anytime we can get an update from you is well welcomed in my book.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you guys.
Thank you, Tyler.
And congratulations again. Exciting. And I look forward to seeing the next 100 episodes.
Hey, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Well, next up, we have executive editor of Model Aviation magazine, Jay Smith. He's going to tell us a little bit more about his new show, the second episode of his new show, Model Aviation Live. Jay, you're on.
Oh, hey, you caught me reading Model Aviation. Sorry about that. Hey, first things first, congratulations, 100 episodes. I remember when the show first started, and I remember talking about what it was going to be named and who the hosts were going to be. And, it's exciting to have been on that journey and been on the show, a few times. So congratulations to everybody involved throughout the 100 episodes.
Thank you so
Jay.
much, Jay. That's awesome. Thank you.
So, Jay, let's start real quick with talking about Model Aviation Live. We had our, you had your first episode last
You're not
month,
part of that.
and I thought it went really, really well. Greg Gimlick was our guest. He did a fantastic job. You guys covered so many different topics.
I loved it.
It was so good, and all the viewers seemed to really, really like it. There's a little preview if for folks. And I'm curious to hear what you have in store for the next episode. It's coming up quickly. It's next week.
Yes, that's correct. We're going to celebrate our second episode. We got a long way to go to get to 100, but, baby steps. So our second episode will be August 21st, which is next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm excited to share with you who our guest is, and that's Fitz Walker. And Model Aviation readers should be familiar with that name. He's done a lot of articles, but he's also part of the RC Roundtable.
I love hearing from Fitz Walker.
Fitz is a great guy. He really is. I cannot wait to hear what all he has to say on your show.
Well, the focus is going to be around the upcoming October issue that focuses on building. And Fitz has a review of a kit that he built. So we're going to talk about that and just kind of tackle some build topics and get people excited about the themed issue. And we're really kind of going for lack of a better term, like a build month. We really want to promote building. We offer a discount at the plan service of 20%. And so we're really excited to kind of preview a little bit of what people can expect from that issue and support building as a lot of people are spending more time at home. And obviously we're also starting to, later this year will be what a lot of people call the build season. So we want to support that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the build issue really is one of the most popular issues of the year, I feel like. So
I look forward to it.
I'm excited about kind of the new efforts we're going to be putting into that. We're going to be doing lots of stuff, not just in the print magazine for that build issue, but we're going to be supporting it throughout the AMA. So stay tuned for more details on that. So what about the September issue of Model Aviation? I know the digital edition is about to come out.
Yes. So that's very exciting. I think we have a cover to share. There it is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's our lead story that you see on the cover there is that VTOL aircraft, and it was designed and developed by a gentleman named Bob Ormiston, and he spent a lot of time and it went through a lot of iterations to finally get to a really good flying model that was aerobatic. So he shares the story of that model and what he went through and how he perfected it. And at the end, there's a link where you can download the plans and build your own. So we're really excited to share that because VTOL aircraft are very exciting and in most cases can be flown in a smaller space. Obviously given to the vertical takeoff and landing, but once you change into forward flight, it's as capable as as a standard aircraft. So we're really excited to share that with the readers, and hopefully some people will want to take on that build. The plans are completely free. So that's our lead story. But we also have a story about the Warbirds and Classics over the Midwest. So it's a scale event, and we're excited to share that. And then every month we've been doing the common questions, which tells from companies in our industry the questions that they're receiving from their customers. And so we've been sharing those, and I hope that the readers are finding those very helpful. So this time, Budreau will be featured, and the article will be all about prop balancing. So using the Budreau prop balancer to balance nylon props and to balance wood props. And I don't want to share all the articles because I want you to be a little bit of surprise and excitement. But I will say that we do feature a review in there that I did myself, and it's of the Air Tractor, which is the crop duster from High Copy. And that was a fun project. I've seen, just literally in front of AMA, if you look out, where the street is, where you lead in, I've seen crop dusters fly over before.
Oh, yeah.
Crop dusters fly over my house all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's kind of exciting to fly an airplane that you see commonly. So, I was excited. I'd never had one. And I tend to sometimes delve more into military aircraft, and I'm a veteran, and so I'm trying to lately focus a little bit more into civilian aircraft. So I think that the Air Tractor was a good airplane to try, and it's bind and fly, and it's got AS3X, and it's got safe. So look forward to sharing that with you in that issue as well.
Fantastic. And of course, if you're a digital subscriber, you will have access to that here in just the next couple of days. modelaviation.com/digital is the web address to go to check that out. That's a cool little plane. I like that.
Makes you think of the Pixar movie.
Yes, it does a
little lot like in planes. And I flew it out at Site 1 so that you could get the crops in the background. It kind of almost gives that visual that it's cropped.
Yeah. I love when people do that.
It's
awesome. It just adds a little bit of something extra.
Very cool. Well, again, that's modelaviation.com/digital to check that out in the digital edition. We also have modelaviation.com/live for you guys to check out for Model Aviation Live with Jay Smith that will air next Friday. It's a week from today at 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, you can check it out at modelaviation.com/live. Fitz Walker will be on that show. Well, Jay, thank you so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about what's been going on. Do you have anything else you want to share with our viewers before we let you go?
I just want to say thank you to both of you for allowing me to be part of the 100th anniversary or 100th episode. And also, I hope to see everybody that's watching today to come back next week and be part of Model Aviation Live. We got a lot of exciting stuff to share there.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Well, Jay, thank you so much for coming on.
Jay.
And boy, Claire, we are nearing the end of our show.
I know. I'm
a little
sad.
It's the end of our celebration. Is more appropriately to be said.
I worked really hard on this backdrop.
Me too. I have streamers.
I mean, look at this. Look at all this work we did, and it's gonna only be for one episode. How sad.
It's sad, but it's been a lot of fun, and I think Dylan, is gonna bring back some of our guests here.
Let's bring all our guests back on. Come on in. Come on back.
Everybody's back.
Yay!
Wait.
Where's Dylan?
I got something
Dylan.
for you.
Uh-oh.
Yay! I love it.
Well done. Well done. Well, listen, guys, for everybody watching at home, thank you so much for joining us today on our 100th episode of AMA Air. Claire, you tell them what to do.
Well, you have to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And if you're not, if you're not already a member, why not? Just visit us at modelaircraft.org/join and actually watch the commercial tomorrow during the Airmeet if you're not a member already, because you might just get a discount on your new membership. And who doesn't love that?
Yep. And I also, before we go, want to thank all of our guests for coming on today, because this has been an absolute blast. I
loved
couldn't
it.
think of a better way to celebrate our 100th episode of AMA Air than with all of you here on the show today.
That was so much fun.
Yep. Thank
Come
you all
back next
very
time.
much.
Guys.
Great job, guys. on
Thank
the show.
you.
Thanks.
Congrats.
For everybody at the AMA, we'll see you guys next time on AMA Air.
See you later, Aviator.
After a while, Model Flyer.
Hey, you guys got it right. I'm so proud.
Got it!
Good job.